Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Welcome to the Channel for Grace. Gobind will be live shortly. Book a tarot or astrology reading on our website, channelforgrace.guru, and check out our latest programs and classes. Please give us a share and a like, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast. Hello everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Gobind and this is your Channel for Grace. Thank you all of you for being here live, and thank you to those of you that are watching the replay. I really appreciate your support, and I'm so excited to talk about this eclipse that is literally happening. It's happening tonight, like at 1:57 in the morning. That's like mountain time, but we're gonna feel it today. We've been feeling it. It's been coming up, and we're gonna feel it tomorrow. I mean, it's a big deal, but we're gonna talk all about the astrology of this eclipse today in this show. Let me say hi to everybody that's in the chat. Hello Melanie, welcome in. Hello Rebecca. Hello Courtney. Hello, Tamika. How's it going? Hello, Veronica. Hello, Sage. Welcome in. Hello, Lisa and Traylene, and Valerie is here. Thank you all for showing up. Silver Star Priestess, hello. Been a minute. Chrissy, welcome. Christy Ann, welcome in. Jill, hello. Rebecca, another Rebecca, hello. Yeah, it's so exciting, I'm sure. And music video Sish, welcome in. So it's so exciting. This eclipse is super powerful. Earlier today, I've been thinking about it for a while now, you know, like what are the energies and what's coming up. Hello, Magical Mommy Spot. And honestly, there's so much to cover. I feel like this might be one of our longer astrology videos. However, I think it's completely worth every single thing that we're going to go over here. So I'm going to try to share the screen, but before I do that, my iPad was kind of giving me a little bit of trouble. As I try to do that, I think I have to restart the iPad. So we're just going to go do that real quick. And while the iPad restarts, I want to invite you all to subscribe to this channel. If you're new, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And also hit the notification bell so you get notified of when I go live and also when I upload videos. It's obviously like the exact moment that the iPad, you know, gives me trouble is the most important eclipse that we have happening here. But so that's how to stay in contact with the channel here on YouTube. I would love for you to join me on my email list. It's also outside of YouTube, the best way to stay in contact. And I have a free moon astrology guide, and there's a link in the description of this video, so right below. And what it does, it tells you what your psychic gifts are based off of your moon sign. It also enters you into my email list. And then I send out a weekly moon magic report. And this report is what gives you the horoscope and the astrology for the week ahead. So it's really exciting. People absolutely love it. Okay, there we go. Now it's working. Yeah, yes. And there's a lot of other cool things happening right now as well. While I pull this up, I'll share those with you. So I'm having a sale on my Etsy shop right now through the end of December. And tomorrow I have actually an exciting announcement to make for the Etsy shop. I'm creating a special new kind of product. Some of the moon goddesses saw it like a week ago, but we are going to I'm going to be releasing that tomorrow and then this weekend and the days coming up. So super, super, really awesome, cool product. It's a piece. It's like a jewelry piece that has 3 different ways to use it, to wear it. And I've never come up with anything so cool. So tomorrow I'm going to be wearing it for the ceremony, because we always do the astrology video and then the ceremony the day after, the day of the eclipse. So, or the moon, full moon or new moon. So tomorrow I'll be wearing it and I'll show you guys all the different ways of using it. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also doing a special holiday reading right now. So it's a 1-hour session with me on Zoom. So it's one-on-one, it's live. We get to talk to each other. I'm going to ask you what it is that you need, what it is that you want at this time, and we'll co-create the session together. We can look at your chart. We can look at all different aspects of astrology. We can look at the tarot, the oracle. We can even go into healing energies and clearing energies. Anything is possible. And the sessions that I've had so far have been like absolutely amazing. And people are really enjoying being able to know like where to go from here. The confirmation of the affirmation that the astrology brings is also really, really powerful. Also, the next Moon Goddess training starts in January 29th. We just completed the last one. Hello, Shannon. Welcome in. And so congratulations to all of the Moon Goddesses that just completed that 6-week program. It was amazing. It was incredible. I freaking can't wait for the next one. And the amazing thing about the next one, and here it is that what we're going to do, it's going to be an 8-week program. What we're going to do in that Moon Goddess training is we are going to go through the temple initiations of ancient Egypt, ancient Atlantis, ancient Lemuria, and those 8 weeks will be jam-packed with Kundalini yoga meditations and practices. So in the ancient mystery schools, they used to do breath work and meditation, astral travel, all these things that they would learn. They would even learn like the philosophy like of Hermetic alchemy or Hermeticism, and then they would practice it in their bodies. And I want you guys to have that experience of being a student an initiate of the mystery schools. So we're going to be doing Kundalini yoga meditations and different types of breath work. Kundalini yoga is so vast. There's so many things that it can help us activate. We're going to be doing a 40-day meditation together. And we are also going to be going through the temple initiations. So every week we'll have that meditation practice, and then we'll have the temple initiation, the astral travel journey back in time or forward in time. I'm going to be opening up basically for all of these sessions while we're doing them together. I'll be opening up the Akashic Records, and that's how we're tapping into the Akashic Records to go on these journeys. So it's just going to be freaking amazing. And then we have content that we study and we talk about. And part of that includes the moon centers, the flow of the feminine, empowering yourself, being at your best, knowing how to live coherently in your life. What does it really mean to like live in your destiny path, and how you can like step into that yourself? So a very kind of self-embodied wisdom seeking from within and without program. It's going to be amazing. Like nothing you guys have ever seen before. I'm telling you, like if you've done the Moon Goddess training before, this is the one to definitely jump into if you haven't done it in a while, especially because it's going to, yeah, like Melanie says, it's going to be mind-blowing the amount of information that we are going to be tapping into and having an experience of. So that's really, really exciting. That is coming up. And I think that's all the stuff I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to put on a little bit of jasmine for myself. There is, if anyone is interested in using essential oils, I've been diving into this essential oil practice, using them for meditation especially. If anyone is interested in understanding how to use essential oils or finding out where to get the best oils, which is basically through doTERRA, I can hook you up with a wholesale account and you can literally start to use these oils yourself. And I make my own essential oil blends. So we've got the Moon Goddess Aura Mist, the Moon Goddess roller. I'm going to spray some of this on myself. And they're just amazing. All right, Humble Raw, that's amazing. I'm so excited. Yay, congratulations. Okay, and then the other thing that I want to share before we hop into the astrology, which I can now share the screen, is that right now I'm having a early bird discount for the Moon Goddess training. So anyone that signs up between now and the end of November will get the program for $175, and the cost of the program is $333, which is literally a steal. The price will definitely be going up next year, but I want to obviously see how this all unfolds, and I can't freaking wait. So here we go. Let's look at this eclipse, shall we? Jill says, I work every other weekend, so I didn't do the last one because of that. I think I'll have to sign up anyway and watch the replays. Yeah, so actually, that's a really good point that you brought up, Jill. What the replays are completely like, it's just fine for you to do the replays. There's no, I mean, it's nice to be there live, but the way that I'm kind of structuring the next one, there's going to be a lot of me giving you guys information and going through the doing the meditations and also the practices, that it'll be much more of you kind of receiving a lot. We will be sharing, like we always do, with each other in very specific moments during the 8 weeks. But yeah, I actually had a couple of people that did the replays only because they couldn't be there at all. So you can totally do this without, if you're not available for the live, you can always be there on the replay. And Corey says, I just got my doTERRA laundry detergent. Oh my God, I love it too. Hello, Maricela. Welcome in. And okay, so this is what, can you guys see the chart? Let me know in the chat if you can see the chart. I actually have my frankincense diffusing right now because it always helps me to get in that kind of channeling space, that supportive, powerful, spiritual space that for me just expands everything. But we are looking at this chart of this lunar eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. And I can feel how powerful it is because today I've literally been just kind of like out of it. Like I haven't been able to sit down and really like stop and like focus. Like this whole week has just been like, whoa, like it feels like a whirlwind in a way. Now the eclipse, the powerful thing about this eclipse is that for one, the moon is going to be right. Oh, let's make sure give me 1 second. Let's go over here and over here. And then I can kind of highlight where the moon is at. So the eclipse, which is happening at 27 degrees of Taurus, is in a sign that the moon is exalted in. What does that mean? That means that the moon feels really good here. It feels secure. It feels safe. It likes to enjoy the finer things in life. Hello, Meliana Dalai. Welcome in. Welcome in, everyone. And it's a beautiful energy. It's powerful to have an eclipse, but it's even more powerful to have an eclipse in a sign where the moon is exalted. So you're going to feel really powerful energies when the moon is in Cancer. You're going to feel really powerful energies when the moon is in Taurus, where it's exalted. And then you're going to feel really powerful energies when the moon is in like the water signs, but mostly Pisces is that ethereal energy. Taurus is a little more grounded, but it represents Mother Earth. It represents the sacred divine feminine, the mother. I think it's so beautiful. A lot of their focus for the moon goddess training that we just did was basically to balance the sacred divine feminine, the masculine within ourselves, to have that divine experience of those energies, the divinity within ourselves. And I think it's so beautiful that we're coming out of this moon goddess training right into this powerful eclipse that does represent the mother, the feminine, the goddess, and it's the earth goddess. It's the empress. It's Venus. Taurus is a sign that is ruled by Venus. So it's about sensual pleasure. It's also about feeling good and doing things that make you feel really good. Hello, Illuminati. Now, to add a lunar eclipse to the mix, because this is a lunar eclipse, not just a full moon, lunar eclipses are moments in time for us to burn through karmic cycles, negative habits, toxic things, and people. With a moon in Taurus, what we're experiencing collectively, but also individually, is a revolution shift, a change into what we want to manifest into this three-dimensional reality. So with an eclipse in Taurus, this isn't just about the moon being in Taurus, it's about it being a lunar eclipse. The other thing is that this eclipse is actually going to be one of the longest lunar eclipses that we've had in like more than 500 years. So it's rare. It is a partial lunar eclipse, not a total one. The last one we had that was a total lunar eclipse that was visible from the US. I remember it. It was in Leo, and it was like in 2018. I remember that. That was intense, that eclipse. But this one is longer than that one. Actually, it's like a 6-hour thing. But when the moon is like, when the most intense point of the eclipse is going on, that's going to last 3.5 hours. So what happens when the moon gets eclipsed by the earth? It turns red. And so you'll be able to go out after we talk about this astrology. You'll literally be able to go outside and go and we'll like later on tonight, like 1, 2 a.m. kind of a thing. You'll be able to see the moon starting to turn red. And it is really intense. Some of the things that are happening with this eclipse bring up, they're pulling from so many different places that what we're going to do is put it together piece by piece. I'm going to talk about the aspects that this moon is making to other planets, aspects that other planets are making to each other, and how that's significant to this specific eclipse. We're going to talk about any fixed star alignments. We're going to talk about the symbols, the Sabian symbol, and then the chandra symbol. And then I'm going to talk about the gene key that this moon is in, which is so powerful and so beautiful. So the aspects about the first aspect that I think is very, very significant is a square to Jupiter. So here we have the moon at 27 degrees of Taurus. Here we have the sun. Hello, Christina Maria. Welcome in at 27 degrees of Scorpio. And then Jupiter is over here at 24. And although they're not exact, they are both making this square to Jupiter, which means that this is what we call a T-square in astrology. So squares in general, they force friction so that change can happen. It's like it forces the energy to make you act, to make you take action. So that's one of the things that this eclipse is, activating. It's like action. Like you can't just sit here and do nothing because you're feeling the friction, you're feeling, the intensity. The other thing that this eclipse is doing is it's making a trine to Pluto. So Pluto is over here at 24. And it's interesting that both Jupiter and Pluto are both at 24 degrees during, just in terms of like numerology, it's kind of exciting to see things that are in same numbers, repeated numbers. So there's the sun again. So the moon is making a trine to Pluto and the sun is sextiling it. So again, here's another planet that is literally making contact with both the sun and the moon during this eclipse. Now Pluto he is the transformer. He brings up he unearths things, the past, stories, emotions, things that are buried, things that we bury. The more you bury things, literally and symbolically, right? Because we talk here a lot about, you always use these words, but we really are talking about this energy that is symbolic to our evolution as individual beings, but also as a collective. So the more you bury things and you push them further and further down, you make it harder for yourself in the future. You make it more challenging for yourself when it's time to shift the energy. And so what Pluto does is he comes in and he unearths all of those things. And so of course it's like the monsters in the closet, that the skeletons in the closet, right? They come out and then we feel this like intense energy of like death, and it leads to surrendering to whatever the universe wants us to surrender to let go of, to release. And when you finish that process, which is the hardest part, but really it leads to something so beautiful, which is the awakening, the rebirth, the transformation, the caterpillar that finally opens its wings as a butterfly. And so Pluto making a trine and a sextile is really beautiful, because if we had a square to this opposition between the sun and the moon, what it would feel like would be that tension that Jupiter's causing the tension. He's the one squaring, right? These 2 points. But Pluto is not squaring them. He's not causing the tension. He's actually bringing the harmony. It's the harmony that we need to get us through. It's the trust. It's the understanding that there is something, that this journey is deeper than we could ever imagine. And eclipses are 6-month cycles. So this is beginning a 6-month cycle. The next eclipse is in 2 weeks. So we're not out of the woodworks. Like it literally started with the new moon in Scorpio, which was a significant portal between that 2 weeks ago and today, was a significant portal for us to set ourselves up for success for all of 2022. I talked about it a lot. It has to do with the nodal shift that is going to be happening in January like 18th, 19th, somewhere around there. The North Node will be moving into Taurus and the South Node will be moving into Scorpio. And the fact that this first eclipse is happening in the sign of Taurus means that it's like a preview of the things that we're going to see in 2022 from the moment that nodal shift happens to 18 months into it. That's how long that transit is. And it's going to be a big deal because South Node Scorpio is teaching us to let go, is teaching us to surrender. It's teaching us to not get stuck in the past. It's teaching us to not keep like rolling that same story. Hello, Maria. Welcome in. It's teaching us to go through that like release all the drama from our lives and step into more stability. And North Node Taurus is saying you need to find the appreciation and the gratitude for everything that you have in this moment right here, right now. There's nothing else that you need. It's right here and you've always had it. And that's the beauty. But obviously the transit itself can be felt very differently depending on who is observing. Everything in the universe, depending on who is observing and through what perspective, through what lens, tells you what that person's going to experience. So you can imagine what chaos a South Node in Scorpio can bring if the South Node is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto right now is in Capricorn. destroying the old structures and the old systems, literally. So this time right now is the last attempt at the matrix to like hold its power. But Pluto's literally breaking the matrix down. So the matrix won't last. However, this is the last attempt for that control. And you'll see when we get to the gene key of this, you'll understand what I mean. It's the breaking of the matrix. So as that falls apart, or as you could also say, in the matrix where the people start to wake up or whatever, right? Like that's what is happening in the world right now. We're waking up to the knowledge. We're waking up to the truth. Pluto also rules the truth. We're waking up to the truth. And what this means for us is that some of us are going to be very disoriented. Some of us are going to know exactly what to do because we've been waiting for this moment forever, and some of us are just going to be like kind of, okay, going through the motions, going with the flow, but feeling like what is going on. So these are all the themes. You can tie this all into like, whenever everything started, Saturn, Pluto conjunction in 2020, Saturn, Jupiter conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius, December 21st of 2020. And now, the winter solstice, it was powerful stuff, and it's been adding up and adding up and adding up. And the next thing that's happening, if you look at Pluto is at 24 degrees of Capricorn. He's right over here. He's in the last decan of Capricorn. There's only 29. He can only go up to 29 degrees. And then he switches signs. And that's going to happen in, I think it's 2023, 2024, around there, around those years, 3, 4, 5, is when Pluto is going to legit enter Aquarius. Like, what? Okay, and so that's going to solidify Aquarian age energy. That's going to bring in that vibe like hardcore. We're so hardcore. Okay, continuing on. The other thing that's happening during this eclipse is if we look at Mercury, who's kind of close to the sun, not exactly conjunct anymore, but pretty close. Mercury is trining Neptune, who is over here. So we got this really nice trine, activating our intuition, allowing us to understand from a higher perspective. These are water signs, right? So this is deep intuition. Hello, Erica. Welcome in. This is deep, powerful intuition coming from like, like way, like deep within your center, the wisdom that comes from within, but also from above. So powerful communication. Mercury is also making a square to Jupiter, which can expand. Jupiter expands everything, expands our mind, makes that energetic activation of our intuition even stronger, and then also making a sextile to Pluto. So Mercury's kind of in the mix here, and Mercury rules our mind. Mercury is also the magician, and he's also the hermetic alchemist. Hello, Stephanie. Welcome in. He's the he's the alchemist. So Neptune is intuition, Jupiter is expansion, Pluto is death and rebirth. Our minds going through all of that. And if you were in the Moon Goddess training, we talked about how the very first law of the universe is everything is mind. God is mind. Everything is mind. The universe is mind. That's one of the most powerful realizations that you can have, is that your thinking, your thoughts, your mind is the part of you that's God. And to have a divine experience is to understand that at such a deep level that you no longer buy into the third dimension. You know what I mean? Like you're so beyond it. Like you realize you don't even need a body. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's a powerful, obviously not very many people have gone to that place, but some people have had glimpses of it, which is really beautiful. Courtney says, loving the Four Agreements. That's a great book to read if you're into this stuff. It's a good it's where to start. That's where to start right there for sure. So Venus, what is Venus doing during the eclipse? She is making a sextile to Mars, who is over here. She is also trining Uranus almost exactly. And she is squaring Chiron still. We talked about this. These are things that are still going on. They're not exact. The trine to Uranus pretty much is exact right there almost. What's happening here is it's a communication between the masculine energy, the feminine energy, the intense power and determination of Mars and Scorpio, connected with a Venus who just entered shadow, 44 in the house. I love that. Who just entered shadow, who is in her wholeness phase. Tell me that you guys have gone outside in the evening when the sun goes down and you look at that bright ass star, and that is Venus. So bright, it's almost blinding. And then you keep following the line up to the left and you get Saturn, and then you keep going up and you get Jupiter. Those three planets are in the sky at night. It's so beautiful and so powerful that Venus is going through her wholeness phase. She's slowing down. She just entered shadow. She's going to go retrograde. I mean, this has to do with relationships. This has to do with understanding our responsibility, taking responsibility for the relationships in our lives. Chiron brings in the aspect of healing. He says it's healing karma. When it has to do with a square from Chiron to Venus, it's healing karma, relationship karma. And with the trine to Uranus, that's actually exciting. It's a new world. It's a new world within relationships. It's a new way to relate with people. Not just new, it's an exciting new way. And remember that Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. So it has a powerful energy here relating to the full moon eclipse. Taurus is ruled by Venus, and so Venus making a trine to Uranus, who is in Taurus, is a big deal for this specific moon. Mars, that's the other thing that's going on here that's super intense, is opposing Uranus. And that's like, you can't control it. Things are going to happen that are out of your control. The best thing that you can do is to surrender to the flow of life right now. And it's a strong opposition. It can cause unpredictable bursts of anger as well, because Mars rules the energy of like intense. It rules Aries, so Aries can be very impulsive, and Aries can also be aggressive. So it can be like random outbursts of aggression and things that are unexpected that happen, and then it's like, it's upsetting, that's part of this. But I think it's like, it's the lightning that shakes the ground, that opens up the space for us to do something different. And it's both, Mars and Venus that are making a connection to Uranus. So Venus represents love, beauty, relationships, what we truly desire in life. Mars represents our motivation, our willpower, our that intense essence of like, okay, we gotta push forward here. Mars in Scorpio is like relentless. So when it's up against Uranus, it can, and it's volatile. Like, you don't really know what's happening, what's going to happen next. All these random things coming up. Also, Uranus in Taurus has to do with money. Right now, the money systems are changing, right? That's the big overarching theme of the time. Money systems are changing. Taurus represents money. So that's another huge thing, right? In the world, this is a worldwide thing. But Mars is like coming up against Uranus and like full throttle, and very intense energy. And Uranus is like throwing lightning bolts, It's kind of a wild energy to have all of this really going on while there is this powerful eclipse. And we haven't even gotten to the more powerful aspects of the eclipse. Right now, we're just talking about mostly the other planets And we're building the base. We're building the cake. This is the base layer of the cake, I promise you. Okay. Saturn is also, okay, so there's more stuff going on with Uranus too. With Saturn is getting close to doing, I think it might be the last square. Don't quote me on that. There was 3 of them total. I think this is the last one that's going to be coming up. But basically, this is intense. This is like authority against authority, like God against God. Saturn represents the father, but it also represents the father time, father, karma. The wheel of time, the wheel of karma with Uranus, like, the lightning, the god of the higher realms, the higher mind, causing just chaos, like on Earth. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing. So the thing is, if you look at Hermetic alchemy and you understand that there is literally a law of correspondence. I think it's the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. You realize that what we see, why astrology is so cool, is because we see things in astrology based off of symbols, but also like channeling messages. And then we, in the 3rd dimension, we get to see it like manifesting, and then we experience it like this. We experience the world changing. Hello, Michael Mass. We experience things changing in the 3rd dimension because that's where we exist. We exist in the 3rd dimension. And so you have to understand that it's you may feel like you don't know what's happening, but the truth is that you know what's happening. It's just as above, so below, as within, so without. Things are unfolding exactly the way the astrology is saying they're unfolding, right? But the trick to the world here on Earth is free will, and everyone can choose. Everyone receives the information. Hello, Renee. Everyone receives the information. But do they actually make a choice? What choice do they make? Or do they make a choice to move towards the evolution, which really is just about realizing that, God and me and God are one. There's a beautiful mantra in Kundalini Yoga. That's it. And you chant it over and over in this like monotone voice. God and me and God are one. I mean, you chant that over and over after a while. You're like, whoa, like I'm melting. But that's basically what we're doing here. And there's more to it. But it's just know that we're seeing the manifestation of what's happened as above, so below. And below would be like the 3rd dimension for us. So that's Saturn. Saturn is also making a sextile to Chiron. And that's pretty much, I mean, if you look at it, let me erase this for a second. If you look at it, the power is 8 and 8, right? And those are sextiling. And there's, again, another pair of energies here in the astrology that are the same numbers. We got 27, 27. We got 24, 24. We got 12, 12. Let's see. It's 27, 27, 24, 24, 12, 12, 8, 8. I mean, that's intense. It's a lot of repeating numbers. In numerology, when you see a lot of repeating numbers, usually there's a message, right? For me, what I feel in this is that everything is like falling into place. And it's almost like when the clock strikes 1, like, like the wheel just falls into place. It just opens up the door, like, and then you fly out. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but what I'm seeing in my head is pretty fucking cool. But anyways, there's a lot of repeating numbers, and Chiron being involved, in this is about healing. Healing our identity, healing our sense of self. Who am I? What am I doing here? Why? What do they want from me? It's all of those things that Chiron is asking us to do in a general sense during this whole time, this whole period. And now we get to the epic stuff. Although that's good to have all of that background information to look at, okay, what does this eclipse really mean? What does this really, really mean? So first of all, at 26 degrees is a star called Algol. So this moon is conjunct Algol. We're going to talk about Algol in a moment. You can't see it here. I wonder if this has, let's look, because I would like to display the chart points. Yes, it's here. Okay. So that's exactly what I wanted. What we're going to do is hop on over to this next chart that I took a picture of because I added something to here. And what I added was this little baby right here. That's Sedna. So there's the moon, and let's write Algol again. Algol. The other thing is there's Sedna right here. Sedna is one of the planets. There's a story behind Sedna that I'm going to talk to you guys about, but basically what I'm trying to point out here is that there is strong, powerful energies that we need to understand in order to truly understand what's going on. The first thing is that, when Algol hits, when you get to Algol in the degrees of Taurus, what you are essentially in is the realm of the Pleiades. So this is a Pleiadian portal. Pleiadian energy will come through. And the Pleiadians are all about heart consciousness, Christ consciousness, the light. Think about the light frequencies and like tantra and creating through that sexual energy. That's the Pleiades. Now, Algol has to do with the story of Medusa. So Algol is also known as the Medusa star. And Medusa is also known as the triple goddess. So I want to read to you about Algol while you're here, because I think that this is going to help you understand the more powerful energies of Algol. Algol is actually known for many astrologers known as the demon star. But I believe, and this is what I learned in my STARSEED class, or training, that this is a misunderstanding, and this is not what Algol really represents. It's the fear of the darkness, because Algol is, and Medusa do represent the part of the goddess energies within that spectrum that is basically the shadow. So it represents the shadow, and the shadow is very, very, very misunderstood in our societies. We're afraid of it, but there's really nothing to fear about the shadow. So here's all about Algol. Found in the constellation of Perseus at 26 degrees of Taurus, Algol is an eclipsing binary star that mysteriously twinkles in the night sky among millions of stars in the Milky Way. Also known as the Gorgon's head, Algol is by far the most demonized yet vastly misunderstood of all the fixed stars. For centuries, Algol has been considered one of the most malefic fixed stars in all of the heavens, even called wicked by some astrologers. Dare to take a quick internet search on Algol, and you will find yourself plunged into an abyss of mystery, misery, and fear. At best, Algol is classified as difficult, an unfortunate star at her worst. She is the malevolent demon star that denotes catastrophe, bad luck, death by decapitation, tragedy, and violence. Oppressive fear-based paradigms arise. There is really no need to be scared of dear Algol, for her power is equally connected to the re-emergence of the divine feminine, and much like Lilith, she is a holy, albeit dark, mysterious, edgy emanation of the goddess herself. From an astronomical point of view, Algol is in fact a trinity of stars, and one of the only few stars that can be seen to blink or change brightness with the naked eye. This three-star system, consisting of Beta Persei AA1, AA2, and AB, in which the hot luminous primary Beta Persei AA1 and the larger but cooler and fainter Beta Persei AA2 regularly pass in front of one another, thus altering Algol's brightness due to the smaller, dimmer star orbiting around it. Every 2.87 days, the smaller star passes in front of its larger, brighter companion, blocking out some of its light. From beginning to end, these eclipses last for about 10 hours, and it is the extraordinary characteristic of Algol appearing to eclipse itself that led our ancestors to fear the star, and later associated with the severed head of the Gorgon Medusa being held in Perseus's hand. While classical Greek mythology depicts Medusa as the hideous Gorgon with snakes for hair and whose evil glare turned mortal men to stone, Medusa was originally worshipped in Libya as a serpent goddess of secret, knowledge, sacred sexuality, and transformation. As queen of the Amazons, Medusa was a bold warrior queen with long locks for hair and often depicted riding a valiant horse into battle. Her name translated to sovereign female wisdom, representing her vast intelligence, feminine power, and victory as an undefeated ruler over those who challenged her. Courageous and fiercely independent, the Amazons were a matriarchy or powerful, unstoppable force of female warriors commanded by their queen. They regularly undertook extensive military expeditions into the far corners of the world, including Scythia to Thrace, Asia Minor, and the Aegean Islands, and reaching as far as Arabia and Egypt. In another legend, Medusa is shown in relationship with her sisters, where she was one of the three Gorgons whose name meant ruler, while the other two Gorgons being Wanderer and the Strong One. In Egypt, Medusa was known as the destroyer and an aspect of the triple goddess called Neith. In North Africa, she is Athena or Athene. Her inscription at Sais called her the mother of all the gods, whom she bore before childbirth existed. She was the past, present, and future, all that has been, that is, and that will be. So famous was this description of her that Christians later copied it on behalf of Jehovah. In pre-Hellenic accounts of the Medusa myth, Pallas Athena and Medusa were harmonious and parts of the same beautiful triple goddess. The male telling of their tale split them apart and set them against each other, only demonizing Medusa as the evil one. Medusa's name comes from the Sanskrit root word metha, which means sovereign feminine wisdom, and is another name for the goddess Saraswati, who revealed language, speech, and writing to humans, and who governs science, music, and the arts. The word for medicine is derived from the root word as Medusa. The name of the sorceress Medea also comes from this root. Fixed star expert Diana K. Rosenberg says some born under these stars reach very pinnacle of their professions, becoming immortals or super famous, or go down in history. Bernadette Brady adds, this star seems to contain immense female passion and power. It is the power of the feminine, or the potential power of Mother Nature, not to be called evil for being strong. In that way, Algol is perhaps mostly about the power to create. It is time we reclaim Medusa from Algol, from a feared monster to her elevated expression as the goddess of healing, wisdom, and creativity. Here she reflects how we may be consciously or unconsciously demonizing our own inner goddess through suppressing our own shadow. Let me read a little bit more. This is super powerful stuff. From May 16th to the 18th, the sun transits fixed star Algol. In simple terms, Algol is intense female passion and power. And if one can contain an unconscious compulsion to take revenge, focus that passion into a more productive outcome, Algol holds one of the most intense and emotional myths in the sky. Instead of dreading Algol's placement in our chart, perhaps we should embrace it, knowing the true essence and origin of Medusa's divine feminine wisdom and power can allow us to experience the importance of her presence in our chart. In a shadow sense, Algol may be perceived as the face of the outraged feminine. In our connections to Algol, we may find the power and potential for intense creativity and passion, or a space where destructive anger and rage arises. Planets aligned with Algol teach us how to stand in our own 2 feet, to stick up for ourselves, to fight for the underdog, and to speak up when injustice is concerned. If she happens to be conjunct one of your planets, consider yourself an ambassador for the cause. Look for what planet, sign, and house you're being called upon to make a difference. So, that's the real story and the real power of the star Algol, creative potential that comes through destruction and shadow. But it is only in understanding how one flows to the other that you really comprehend that shadow becomes light. Light needs shadow. And then you're in that duality, right? Light, dark. So it's a reminder of our path as creators here in this physical time-space reality. So what else is going on here? We've got Sedna. Sedna is the planet that was discovered, I believe, in 2003 or 2005. The story of Sedna is very interesting. Sedna is actually an Inuit mythology from the Inuit culture. And to make kind of the long story short, there's a lot of versions of Sedna, the story of Sedna. But basically, the version that I feel most kind of resembles what we're dealing with here is Sedna was a young girl who was very free and, flowing with life and creativity, passion, and she didn't want to get married. She didn't desire that. She didn't want that for herself. She wanted just to live at home, right, with her father forever. And what happens is, all of these men would come and kind of court her, and she would just reject all of them, and she just really wasn't interested. Until one day, a man does show up, and he seems to be the most perfect situation for her. So she figures, well, if this man is going to help my father and all this stuff and me and our family and all these things, then okay, this makes sense. And then so I'll choose to go with him. So she chooses to go with him. They get married. He takes her to. His promise was, I own an entire island, you'll have a whole island to yourself and all this stuff. And so she really was intrigued by the freedom that kind of this man, was kind of shining in front of her. Well, they get to the island and it turns out that, he's actually a crow or a raven. You can kind of interchange those two. But the crow represents magic. And also like deep alchemical magic. However, she was deceived, and so she wanted to go back. The story turns out that her father comes to, rescue her. And so takes her on the boat, and they're traveling back over the ocean to their home, escaping the crow. And the crow flaps his wings, and this storm just starts to brew, this crazy storm. The father, feeling like it's because he's taking Sedna that the crow is angry and causing the storm, he throws Sedna overboard. So to try to save himself, he throws her overboard. She tries to hold on to the boat, but the father at this point is in such a panic that he cuts off her fingers, so she can't hold on anymore. He escapes, but she falls into the ocean, and her fingers become dolphins and whales. And there's a really there's so much in there, right? There's so much in that story. And there's a lot of versions of the story. But the biggest thing is that one, Sedna, the planet Sedna, is connected to the ocean. And so for the Inuit, because Sedna became the ocean and it had to do with the storms, they had to make sure that they took care of her. So they would have these shamans go deep into the ocean to find her, and they would say that she had crabs all over her hair and all these things, and she was, they found her in this kind of state. And for there to be abundance and prosperity in the community, in the whole kind of society, Sedna had to be in her happy state. So the shaman would go into these journeys to her and clean her up and take the crabs out of her hair and just free her and love her. And then they would see the food come, and the abundance come, but they needed to take care of her. So it's a really, really powerful story of the sacred feminine, the power of, right? The ocean represents the realm of infinity. The ocean represents the emotions. Yeah, it's a crazy story. The ocean represents, but when she goes down to when she actually, falls into the ocean, she actually looks around and realizes that that's really her realm. And living up on Earth was not, wasn't where she was going to be the most freed. So she becomes, in some stories they say, she becomes like a whale, or she becomes one of the ocean, creatures. In another one that she becomes a mermaid, in another one it's almost like this, the essence of she all of a sudden goes in the underworld, in the water, and she sees so much magic down there that she's like, wow. And so that's where she really regains her powers when, and this is part of the story, she surrenders, right? She lets go, trying to survive and stay on top of the water, and just completely lets go and submerges and surrenders to the death ritual. And that's the shadow, right? That's the aspect of the energy of the shadow. So both of the story of Medusa and the energy of Medusa and Algol, and the story of Sedna are very similar. Whereas the shadow, right? It's the shadow, it's the feminine power, but it's the shadow that helps us to realize the light, to see the light. And is when we surrender, to the shadow, that we finally see the light. These are all themes that are here now for humanity with this eclipse. Now, in 2003, astronomers discovered an object whose 11,500-year orbit ranged billions of miles from the sun. Because it existed in such an extremely cold environment, the astronomers named it Sedna, after the woman in the Inuit legend who was exiled to the frigid waters of the Arctic Sea. Although many variations of the Sedna myth exist, the main theme is an association with Sedna as either providing or withholding sustenance. depending on the offenses committed by the living against departed ancestors and the beings who lived on land or in the sea. Within the heart of Sedna's message, metaphorically, is a bridge connecting legends from our past with possibilities for the future that empower the desire to create positive life stories in the present. Sedna's message encourages us to become more conscious stewards of our language and perception so that we may regenerate life, reinvigorate health, and replenish hope. Rather than insisting on concrete definition, we are asked to entertain infinite possibility. Dude, there's a book for anybody that wants to learn more about planet Sedna. It's called The Return of Planet Sedna. So that's where I was reading from. She actually goes through in this book her Sedna's birth chart. And it just so happens that Sedna's north node is in the sign of Taurus. So that means that beginning in January, Sedna herself, who is in Taurus right now, is actually going through a nodal return. And this affects us collectively, of course. This is the theme of planet Earth. Earth rules the sign of Taurus. So the connection between the past, the present, and the future that Sedna asks us to explore the infinite possibilities. The truth also is that if there's an 11,500 year cycle or orbit, that means that it takes her that long, 12,000 years. 12,000 years ago was the sinking of Atlantis. And she is about the submergence, the ocean, the storms, right? There's so many links to these ancient civilizations. Also, Taurus itself is a Venusian starseed marking. And Hathor, Taurus, in the age of Taurus, they worshipped the goddess. So this is a Hathor stargate as well. It's a Pleiadian stargate, but also an Hathor stargate. And Hathor is she of 1,000 voices. This is about using your voice to express your truth, to harmonize. Your voice is the vibration. Your words are the vibration. And to top it off, the North Node right now is on the Pleiades. It's on Alcyone. So you've got all of these 3 planets on the Pleiades. And this is a massive, massive portal that's going on right now. Just literally blows my mind. Literally blows my mind. So what I want to do next is I want to go over the Sabian symbol, the chandra symbol, and then the gene key of this eclipse. I know. It's insane. So if we go to 27 degrees of Taurus as the Sabian symbol, we get this. Mind blown, yeah. A middle-aged widow has begun dating again. Having found her first date coarse and disrespectful, she appraises herself in the mirror in preparation for a date with someone new. This is the zest for living. This is about having a zest for living, mustering up enthusiasm for a new phase of life, cultivating the sexual and romantic side of life in later years with a more mature approach, emotional resilience that allows one to move beyond life's tragedies, determination to prevail over obstacles and physical handicaps, the importance of mutual respect in all forms of relationship, refusing to be pushed around, fighting for the rights of older people, women, gays, or the handicapped, mature understanding of what can and can't be changed, refusing to allow oneself to be defined by one's past. I love that one. Refusing to allow oneself to be defined by one's past. Going after what one wants. Reining in a wild streak. Mature self-knowledge concerning one's beliefs, values, and desires. This is what's going on with the collective. Like, this is what this moon is asking of us. This eclipse. This is insane. All right. The chandra symbol. A man making candles out of beeswax. The sweetness is in the returning to those sacred places, always known, and now being at ease there. The natural man strips away false layers and finds somebody underneath who is poignantly familiar and resonantly true. The search, the quest, the process, the intricate, extended process. For everything depends upon entering the process and giving yourself over to the master craftsman hands of the creator beings. You are simply a seed blown by the wind, and to become this completely is blissful fruition, inwardly smiled into being. Let me read it again. The sweetness is in the returning to those sacred places, always known and now being at ease there. The natural man strips away false layers and finds somebody underneath who is poignantly familiar and resonantly true. The search, the quest, the process, the intricate, extended process. For everything depends upon entering the process and giving yourself over to the master craftsman hands of the creator beings. You are simply a seed blown by the wind, and to become this completely is blissful fruition, inwardly smiled into being. Whoa. Whoa. But we ain't done yet. But wait. There's more. Okay. The gene key that this eclipse is on is the 8th gene key. The 8th gene key is called, the descriptive phrase is diamond of the self. Diamond of the self. With the shadow of mediocrity, the gift of style, and the city, the divine gift of exquisiteness. Moving from mediocrity to style to exquisiteness. It's part of the codon ring called the Ring of Water. Did we not just talk about Sedna and the ocean? The Ring of Water, connected to the thyroid, which is connected to the heart chakra. The programming partner is the 14th gene key. Now, with the gene keys, if anyone's not familiar with the gene keys, you move from the shadow to the gift to the city. And those are the energies. So collectively, when we're looking at a gene key, as in like, okay, this full moon is on this gene key, we're looking for collective energies. What's going on in the collective? What's also going on for us individually as you hear these words? But I actually want to read you this one because it is just freaking powerful. It's only 3 pages. Here we go. You ready? All right. The 8th shadow, mediocrity, beyond the comfort zone. When you look at the world in which we live today, especially the Western world, it is quite extraordinary how many people live such similar lives. The 8th shadow, like all the shadow frequencies, is founded upon a specific fear. And in this case, it is the fear of being different. The 8th shadow prevents individuals from rising out of the mass consciousness and exploring the real adventure of life. The true nature of individuality is rebellion, but rebellion is unsafe. So the mass consciousness of humanity chooses the illusion of security instead. It's so intense. The eighth shadow weaves a web across the world, and this web supports the planetary comfort zone. Only when life forces you to grow, through some kind of crisis or the death of a loved one, for example, do you come to experience your true nature outside the borders of this comfort zone. In the Western world in particular, your individuality is imprinted very early in life. One of the issues addressed repeatedly throughout this book is the influence of modern education, especially in the years leading up to the age of 7. Most educational systems encourage sameness rather than difference, because difference threatens the system itself. In modern education, young children go through an accepted process of tests and examinations, the very nature of which is to regurgitate memorized information with little or no scope for spontaneous innovation. This indoctrination begins in our early childhood and lasts into our early 20s, as you are cycled through the same system that shaped your parents and your parents' parents. By setting up a system where sameness is the rule, we have successfully turned individuals into outsiders and reactionaries. One might rightly wonder what kind of education a child should have in order to keep his or her individuality intact. The radical question of the 8th gene key is this: is formal education really needed at all? In our modern world, the inflexibility inherent in our education system is becoming more and more of a problem. Naturally, there will always be certain children who show a disposition for formal learning, some in a variety of subjects and others in other specific subjects. However, many other children simply do not need a formal education and certainly do not respond well to one. Of course, the problem is also linked to many other aspects of our modern lifestyle. What is important to realize at this stage of our evolution is that this 8th shadow is bred into you from an early age, and in most cases has had to be unlearned later in life if you were to have at least the chance of living out your gifts and finding your genius. One of the deep fears emerging from the 8th gene key is the fear of success. Ooh, that one touches home. This fear is reinforced through its programming partner, the 14th shadow of compromise. You compromise your dreams not because you fear you will fail, but because you know that to succeed, you have to rebel against the whole of society and its expectations of you. You fear what you might become because you do not know who you are. The highest frequency of the 14th city concerns bounteousness, which is the reward for the individual who dares to break free from the trap of mediocrity. In other words, the path less traveled leads to treasure. The 8th shadow gives you a recognizable stereotype in the world, which not only makes you feel safe about who you think you are, but also makes others feel safe about who they think you are. Without this stereotypical facade, who might you be and how would others approach you? The answer is that the mainstream would look at you with a mixture of both fear and awe. Mediocrity is defined by others rather than by yourself, and mediocrity has 2 main functions. Firstly, it keeps you from thinking outside the box. Under the influence of this low frequency, you think like everyone else, you look like everyone else, and more or less behave like everyone else, and you will do this based on what others may or may not think about you. The second function of mediocrity is to serve the machinery of society rather than evolution. In other words, you become a cog in the wheel of the systems established by man. In so doing, you become a part of the background of life rather than a major player. Mediocrity prevents people from being heroes or heroines. Nowadays, most of us are simply content to dream about what we could have achieved in our lives. We may watch the films and movies of others and may be deeply moved by them, but the eighth shadow prevents us from believing in ourselves enough to embody such a life. And the reason is fear. Fear is endemic throughout the very infrastructure of our society. Those who move beyond this threshold of fear move in a world that seems incomprehensible to the mainstream culture. The eighth shadow makes you a follower of outside authorities. It even marries you to the systems that then become your authorities. At every turn, the shadow prevents you from breathing the cool, fresh air of your true, unbounded nature. It traps you into its twists and turns and prevents you from being a free thinker. What is a free thinker? It is someone who can see beyond the current of structures imposed by life. Beyond the current structures imposed by life. It is a person who lives for the spontaneity of his or her own creativity. Free thinkers also live freely. They follow no one, even though they may have been influenced and inspired by others. The eighth shadow represents the well-trodden paths through life, the compromised lifestyles, the unimaginative, conformist lives lived by the majority. It takes great energy and courage to push through the darkness of fear of the shadow and find out who you really are and what you are truly capable of. If you wish to escape mediocrity, you will have to find your own path and invent your own identity in the world. It will be like no other path, and it will take you beyond your comfort zone into dangerous territory where there are no assurances that you will succeed except for your faith in your own deep and vibrant nature. The eighth gift, style, a rebel with a cause. To break out of the heavyweight frequency of the eighth shadow, you have to take an exciting leap of faith in yourself. The eighth gift catches people's attention because it brings something fresh into the world. The gift of style has little to do with our popular interpretation of this word. It has more to do with following your own unique rebellious spirit out into the world. True style cannot be measured by materialistic trappings, nor can it be faked. It is the natural flowering of your individuality. To find your own style is to be yourself without concern about what others may think. Since it bypasses the mind, style can be imitated. Style cannot be imitated or preconceived, always emerging spontaneously and naturally. It also involves traveling along paths that invoke risk and involve risk, but only as society defines risk. True style takes great joy in shattering the gray world of mediocrity that is considered the norm. This gift does not sit happily within society, although the pure joy and freedom of expressing your true nature far outweighs any repercussions that may come with the territory. Individual uniqueness is something that our modern societies uphold and idolize, but in reality, we are afraid to have too many colorful individuals. Style is more than skin deep. It is the cutting edge of creation itself. Individuals manifesting this gift have surrendered themselves to a creative process that controls them rather than them controlling it. Creativity can be a thankless business. Oftentimes, an individual is so ahead of his or her own time that their uniqueness is not appreciated until after their death. However, the sense of expansive freedom that comes from letting go into such a process is so fulfilling that success or failure is no longer a major driving force or consideration in their lives. Style is dangerous to society and its logical, structured system-based thinking and infrastructure. It is dangerous because it mimics nature, which so many systems try to control and explain. Like nature, style is given shape by a wild, organic, and unpredictable energy, Uranus. It is full of genius and quantum leaps. For the individual, the eighth gift brings a deeply fulfilling sense of purpose. But so often these individuals find themselves unable to interface their gift with the world. Style in and of itself does not make one an outsider. In fact, it makes one an insider to the secret processes of life. But to the powers that try to maintain control of the world, style is considered dangerous or at best eccentric or quirky. This is why individual uniqueness is usually confined to those realms like art, fashion, or music, where it is acceptable and where there is some space for it to breathe. In most other spheres of society, individual style is generally suppressed because it is neither trusted nor understood. Until a collective coalesces made up of individuals who are free thinkers, the eighth gift of style will remain on the fringes of society. In the meantime, anyone who breaks out of the lower frequencies of the shadow states will have to confront the specter of a collective that cannot allow individual free thinkers much leeway. Fortunately, free thinkers who find their own sense of style are not really concerned with fitting in. Their only concern is to free more free thinkers. Such freedom is truly contagious. Thus, such people inherit a powerful mission in the world, even though they may not see it that way. Finally, the eighth gift is about actually manifesting individual dreams rather than simply dreaming them. When the eighth gift is released from inside your DNA, you suddenly begin to make things happen. And it may seem to you as though the rest of the world is simply stuck inside a dream world. This is the byproduct of operating at a higher frequency. Now anything becomes possible for you because in yielding to your inner spirit, the sheer force of creativity that comes through you frees up channels and opportunities that were previously blocked. Such is the power of genius, for it carries within it more than just a new concept. It carries intent from a higher realm that is far beyond the individual through whom it manifests. The eighth city, this is the last one, exquisiteness, the eternal love knot. The eighth city of exquisiteness is the natural revelation and manifestation of all the Siddhic states. Each Siddhic city is holographic in the sense of being reflected within all other cities. Exquisiteness is experienced when the divine essence begins to shine through the individual. In this superlative state of bliss, you fall in love with your own pristine manifestation because it is through this uniqueness that the divine currents can be accessed. Exquisiteness hints at a beauty that is beyond all worlds. You shine like a diamond in the heart of creation, and wherever you look, you see other diamonds in various states of clarity, each one unique, and each one exquisite and incomparable. At this rare field level of consciousness where all levels paradoxically cease, you come to realize the great joke of individuality and differentiation. Despite its exquisiteness, individuality is an optical illusion created by the mind. You experience yourself riding in a genetic vehicle that is unique, but your being rests in the consciousness field behind all differentiated forms. This is the stage at which you achieve transcendence of your genetics. You remain differentiated at the level of form, but at the collective universal level, your awareness permeates all forms. And I'll add all dimensions, making you both a drop in the ocean as well as the ocean itself. Your true nature is wildness. There is no taming where the divine is concerned, and thus the state of exquisiteness sees through mankind's many veils. All systems break down under this wild, ebullient energy that comes straight from the source of creation. The few who have manifested this city have been as fleeting and beautiful as light playing through clouds. Life never repeats itself, and they are never the same from moment to moment. In every single second, they are new. This is the origin and meaning of the famous Zen saying, "You can never step in the same river twice." The saying points to the truth of the eighth city, the truth of human nature. Like water, it is always moving, changing, evolving, but the river itself is unchanging, and the river is consciousness. People in whom this truth is reflected shine as bright lights amidst the gray background of history. The great avatars and sages who walked among us express the true nature of this city. Our most common mistake lies in trying to emulate such people, which immediately takes us away from our own uniqueness and drops us back into the shadow of mediocrity. The people of the eighth city are not leaders. They are examples. They do not want anyone to follow or mimic them. Wherever such people see the inauthentic or imitative, their very nature exposes its ugliness. Because of this trait, they have a very powerful liberating effect on individuals. At the same time, they are often criticized and spurned by society. Like Socrates, they wish for people to find their own answers and their own questions. Their very presence acts as a light to free individuals from structured systems. Their language is the language of the rebel, and they use beauty as a means to reflect an individual's true nature. They are not limited to any single form of expression, but will play with science or arts, yoga or tantra, logic or poetry, since to them, all expressions can be a means to display the exquisiteness of the divine into form. To the person immersed in the blissfulness of the eighth city, all life is absolutely clear. This clarity, moreover, is paradoxically found in the very uncertainty and wildness of life. These people leave no tracks for others to follow. They know life as a rush of contradictions and mysteries never designed to be solved. As an aspect of the genetic family known as the ring of water, this city of exquisiteness is chemically bonded to the second city of unity. These, are you ready? Are the two great feminine gene keys in the human genome, drawing all human beings along their inevitable journey to self-realization. One of the great mysteries of the 21 codon rings is found there. The ring of water forms a kind of eternal genetic knot with its polarity, the ring of fire. These two chemical families and their amino acids, phenylalanine and lysine, move us human beings along the trajectory of our destinies, ensuring that our genetic materials finds its opposite match. Even deep within the body, the chemical families set the primal blueprint for the balance of all the opposing forces inside us. It is the crossfire of these two codon rings that the mystical figure of 8 is forged within each of us. This eternal love knot, deep within our planetary gene pool, sets each man and each woman squarely on the human journey. The true symbolism of the number 8 represents the timeless quest for the buried treasure that lies inside of us, that elusive diamond of our true nature. People of the eighth city sparkle like exquisite rare jewels. Such people create their path as they walk it. Their legacy to the world is to dismantle all concepts of how one should live or what one needs to do in order to attain any particular state. These are the only people who are not strangers in the world, since they are inside existence itself. To them, the only outsiders in the world are those who look outside themselves for guidance or definition, and the only strangers in the world are those who spend their lives in imitation of someone else, because that is what makes them strangers unto themselves. These people give you no hope of following them at all. The only thing they give the world is their own exquisite lovingness, their absolute delight in being abandoned to the mystery itself, with no need for method or meaning. Theirs is the rush of existence, the aching pulse of the passing moment, and the boundless joy that can only come from touching the core of your own existence. Dude. I know that was long, but for some reason I really felt like I needed to read that whole thing. Holy shit. I feel like I'm high. That book, though, if anybody's interested, if you haven't explored your gene keys, you better explore them. And that was just one of the gene keys. So here we are. This is the energy of this eclipse, asking us to literally become diamonds. And to become a diamond, you have to literally unlearn all the things that you were taught. You have to lose yourself. You have to die. And you have to be reborn. I know, so much info for my poor Mercury Gemini. Oh my God. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Dude, that is so intense. All right, so here we go. Let's go through all the signs and tell you, where is this happening in your chart? Let me get a drink. So deep. It's insane. Insane. Shine bright like a diamond. Awesome. Awesome, Jill. Yeah, thank you everyone so much. Please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Everybody, there's 54 people in here, you guys. Waheguru. 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 My mind is exploded too, Kim. My mind did too. Okay, so let's go through the signs and I'm going to tell you where all of this energy is like being housed in your chart. So look for your rising sign. This is for the rising signs, okay? And if you find a message within one of the other ones, Sun, Moon, or Venus, that's fine. But this will be more accurate regarding your rising sign. All right, so Aries. This is happening in the second house. So this is the house of money. This is also the house of how much you value yourself. What are your values? These are all questions that you're going to be asking yourself and exploring this theme for the next 6 months, because this is a 6-month cycle. Remember, the eclipses activate 6-month cycles. So you're dealing with the connection to the physicality of your life, the manifestation of actual material things in your world. And also, this has to do with money. Taurus, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, this is happening in your first house. So this eclipse is about you understanding yourself, finding your own identity within the mystery. This is the 8th gene key for you, Taurus, is about you understanding yourself, your individuality. Think of it as that way. How are you stepping into, right, the city of exquisiteness within yourself through this realm? Taurus, this is happening for you in terms of your own identity, who you are, who you are becoming. Who can you become? Gemini, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. This eclipse is happening in your 12th house. So the house of the divinity, the house of the divine, the house of divinity, the house of the infinite. This is Sedna. This is the ocean. Imagine yourself as Sedna in the ocean, surrendering. Infinite possibilities arise to see the exquisiteness of everything around you. How powerful is that? Cancer, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. You're having an 11th house transit with this eclipse, which means that this has to do with you finding the exquisiteness in your own individuality and your own style in the realm of sharing your gifts to the world. You got to share your gifts. That they come from within. That's how you know. They're natural. You don't have to try hard to do these things. They're gifts. So the more that you live in your gifts, you will be sharing them with the world and changing the world because of that. Because that's the 11th house, is the people. Be an inspiration for others by living in your own exquisiteness. Leo, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. This is happening in your 10th house of career, but also your life path and your destiny. Part of destiny in the 10th house is that you have to show up for the world. So guess what, Leo? You are ruled by the sun, our star, our central star. So what you have to do is find that light within you and let it shine, right? Shine bright like a diamond. Reflect to the world, that powerful light source energy, and find your exquisiteness through that space. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Venus, Rising, we got 9th house transit. So the way that you're going to find your exquisiteness, your individuality, your own style. One, you got to be yourself, and you got to not care about what anybody thinks. But the other is to learn more. Go study, go find the answers, go on an adventure, go discover it. It's time for you to expand. And that is what this eclipse is asking you to do. Libra, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, 8th house. So you are a little bit also like Sedna, submerging yourself into the underworld, submerging yourself under the ocean, letting go. Let go of the boat. Stop trying to hold on to what you think is reality, to who you think you are, and surrender to who you can become, and not be afraid that you don't know what that is yet. Because the one thing that you do know is that what you can become is way greater than what you are right now. Let go of the boat. Let go. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. You're having a 7th house transit. So for you, this exquisiteness, when you find yourself, you're going to notice that you'll start to attract people in your life that shine that as well, that reflect that within you, because it's a frequency shift. The exquisiteness, the 8th gene key, you're lifting yourself out of being the same as everybody else, right? Mediocrity. You're like the lameness. Stop being lame. Start being fucking amazing, and let go of anything that is in the way of that. And you, as you lift yourself up, others will find the frequency. It's like you'll start to find each other. You guys are cracking me up. All right, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. And one thing I forgot for Scorpio is about the relationships. Yeah, I did say that. All right, Sagittarius, 6th house transit. Okay, so for you, you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this moment. You're trying to figure out what the hell is going on in this moment, in the present. You need to be present. You need to be here. Find your exquisiteness in every single moment of every single day, from the moment you wake up till the moment. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Even when you sleep, you're there. Find the exquisiteness. Become alive. Come alive to life. Come alive to being here. What lights you up? It's something that's found right here and right in front of you. It's not you don't need to search for it. You're so used to going and searching and going and discovering and going and stop doing that. Of course, you can still do that, but bring it around, and the discovery happens right here in this moment at this time. Who am I? Who can I become? Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising, you're having a 5th house transit. So for you, this is beautiful, Capricorn. So you may have a little bit of a block. Not all Capricorn, but you may have a little bit of a block in terms of creativity and passion, because Capricorn likes to restrict. It is also the realm of the sacred divine feminine wisdom that comes from the Lyran starseeds, the oldest souls in our galaxy, one of the races that seeded life on Earth. So Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, who is the father, who is authority, the system, right? Lord of time and karma. So when you restrict yourself, you're holding yourself back from realizing one of the most powerful things ever that this eclipse is asking you to realize right now is that you are creative, that you are passionate, and you need to move through that creativity to get to the success that you want to get to in your life. Because I know you want success, and I know that you see it, and I know that you're aware of it. You see that mountaintop, and you're going to get there, but do it through the space of your creative life force energy. Do it through that space. Who can you become? How can you get there if you are literally unfolding as the process moves on? Whoa, these are intense, you guys. All right, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. Okay, fourth house. This is interesting. This is about finding your family. And I'm not talking about this doesn't have anything to do with lineage or like genetic lineage, right? It could, but it doesn't have to. This is about finding your family and becoming exquisite and being an individual and stepping into your own style within yourself. And as you do that, you will see that you're going to shine brighter. And if you're in a situation where you feel like the black sheep, which is usually what happens with this energy, is that you are so unique. You are so different. You're sharing your uniqueness. You're sharing yourself. That opening up, that releasing, that who can I become, that like light that like literally explodes outward, it will be seen. And you will call in your family. You will call in like your true family. This is also the fourth house is also the place where there can be a lot of inner child work. So who can you become if you allow that inner child to just be free? Be free. Whoa. Sage just said, I've been saying this all day. I want a family. Whoa. And last but not least, Pisces, Sun, Moon, Venus, and Rising. All right, this is third house energy. Pisces, you are the ocean, so you understand the story of Sedna. You're like, yes, I understand. What you're being asked to do here is to allow the infinite to channel through you whatever wants to come through. Do you want to sing? Do you want to dance? Do you want to write? Do you want to paint? Do you want to walk? Do you want to drive? Like, it doesn't even matter what you want to do. It's just open, like let go, like relax and let the river take you. Don't try to go upstream. Turn your boat around and start to flow down the stream. Go into it with ease, not difficulty. Go into it with ease. And then you become that channel for the grace to flow through. Boom. Who can you become as you learn to express, to vibrate at the frequency of your true essence? What can you manifest, and what can you become when you truly live in that space? All right, you guys. Damn. Were we seriously live for 2 hours? That's insane. Usually these videos are like 1 hour long. Oh my God. That's insane. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and hanging out with me. I hope that you got so much out of this, and you might have to watch the replay. I'll watch it as well. So much information. So tonight, the moon is going to turn red. A lot of us in the world are going to be able to see this. Around 2 a.m. around there is when you're going to see the moon turn red. Be with that energy. Be with that space within you, and ask yourself, in that silence, in that stillness, in that void, who can I become? I am, but who can I become? And it'll just blow your mind. And tomorrow evening, we'll meet right back here at the same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have a powerful, epic ceremony. I'm going to have a journey for us to take, or a meditation, a little bit of both, and we'll do the card reading, the collective card reading, and then we'll play the music. And I have a special announcement for tomorrow, so you don't want to miss tomorrow's broadcast. Check out the links below for all the amazing cool stuff that's happening. And I hope you guys have a beautiful evening. Enjoy this beautiful, powerful eclipse. And I will see you all tomorrow. Sat Nam.